Okay, hey, my name is John Helios. I am the chief editor for Star Nations News, and today is May 27, 2021, and today I've got a wonderful guest. Her name is Erin Elm, and we're going to be talking about, um, we will be talking about our awakening experiences. And I think I'll probably be starting with mine first. And the reason why this is relevant is because the Earth is in this huge transition period right now, where a lot of people are actually waking up themselves. So we wanted to share our experiences here. But a little more about Erin. So her name is Erin Elm, and she's with Elm Awakening. And she had a profound awakening experience in 2017. And she later found that that was actually a soul walk-in, which is a rather interesting topic that we can talk about, at some point. So Erin houses a really high galactic frequency as an actual goddess, as a goddess head upon Earth for these times of great change on the Earth. So she's also a spiritual alchemist, a holder of the purified light frequency, a code rewriter, and a human DNA rewriter. So, and her mission here on Earth is to assist humans who choose to awaken during the Earth's evolution to a higher frequency band. So that pretty much sums it up. Is there anything else you wanted to add to, who you are, what you do, Erin?
I think that is a good overall summary, but some of those terms we can definitely go into, and I can speak on my experience about just exactly what is a soul walk-in as we go along. But thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, sure. So it's great. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about our own personal awakening experiences, because we wanted to share it with people out there who are undergoing their own awakening experience too. And so with that in mind, I think I'll start off with mine. I recently, actually, I've had various forms of awakening over the years, but the most profound one that I've had was actually quite recently. And that was about close to 2 months ago. And I was just to let you know what was going on. I was out for a walk, going about my regular day-to-day activities. And I suddenly felt this surge of energy that was starting to come through my body, and it escalated within just a few minutes. And I was really, it really kind of took me by surprise. And I soon after it started up, it just started increasing. And I felt really, my reaction to it was I felt really uncomfortable. I felt a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear, and it was just huge. It was like an overload. And I literally put this in how I actually felt. I literally felt like I was going to rise up and go out of my body. I felt like I was going to die. I mean, that's just in honest words. That's how I felt. I felt like I was very close to death. I felt like I was going to die. And wow, I've never felt anything like that so profoundly before, so heavily before. And it, to tell you the truth, it was pretty damn scary.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. So in my case, I actually wasn't sure what was going on. I had never experienced something like this before. So I checked myself into a hospital because I thought maybe there was something maybe going on, with my body that, a hospital could track down. And so I went to the emergency room, and they took blood, they did all these tests, they checked my EKG, my electrocardiogram, and they couldn't find anything that was wrong with me physically, no chemical imbalance or anything like that. And I just had this ongoing feeling of just this intense anxiety and fear. And so that was my experience in a nutshell. And upon looking back at it, it was basically I was being asked by my angels or guides or whatever, hey, we're going to give you this new responsibility. We're going to change your life mission and give you this new responsibility where you're going to be doing certain things. And it involves processing lots and lots of information, such as lots of energy, such as what you're feeling right now. So that's basically what happened to me. And so the first couple weeks after this onset of this huge amount of energy, I was feeling very precarious. It was very difficult for me to deal with. So here it is, about 2 months later, and I've stabilized quite a bit too. Thank goodness. So, and that's actually what's prompted me to start, as my new life mission. I mean, previous to 2 months ago, I never did any videos like this or shared, personal experiences. But in all honesty, I have nothing to really hide. I've done, I've cleaned out my life as much as possible, actually, to prepare for something like this. It's just that this was an unexpected package that I didn't expect it to show up this way at all. So in any case, so this, by sharing this, though, I don't want to put anybody off. I don't want anybody to think, oh my goodness, when my time comes to have my awakening, John was saying he freaked out basically, and he had a really hard time. It doesn't necessarily need to be that way. For every person, it comes as a different experience. And in my case, it was kind of rough. It was rough at first, and but now things are going pretty smoothly, and I'm proceeding pretty confidently too, within less than 2 months time, actually. So yeah. And there's, previous to this happening this couple months ago, I've had various other stages of awakening too, but those are different stories. Those were not as intense also. But yeah, so that's kind of like my story in a nutshell. And if you go onto the onto the website, the Star Nation's news website, you can find my other videos. If you click on the videos link, you can find my other videos where I've spoken about the awakening process or the ascension process in a little bit more detail. But hey, Erin, go ahead and share with us what you what your experience has been.
Yeah, I really wanted you to tell your story first because it's a good segue and because it's so fresh. I think a lot of people on Earth, the ones who choose to awaken, as we can see right now, the Earth is splitting. There are the people that are choosing to seek a source outside of self for safety, let's say, and health. And then there are those who have a template built within or some sort of communication system built within that are like, I don't buy into this. I trust my own immune system. I don't need my government to tell me what I need to do with my body, etc. So I am here for those who are choosing to evolve and ascend within Earth. So we're splitting, and that trajectory of self evolution is where I come in. And this has been a journey for me. So let's see. It's kind of stereotypical, but around 2012, my life shifted greatly. Everybody thought the world was going to end and the Mayan calendar ends and all this great change is coming. And then it just kind of flopped, right? Nothing really happened. It was just another day. And then all of a sudden it's 2013. But it did stop, and it's been, or it did change, and it's been a slow roll ever since. So while everyone was going on with their life, I started to have these awakenings and observations about this earth. And it was a slow process of awakening for me. In about 2015 and 16, I started automatic writing. So I was just obsessively writing constantly, and I was bringing forth incredible ancient information. I had a direct channel to a galactic system that was nothing of Earth. I didn't understand it at the time. I was just in it. It was my day-to-day life, just as people got up and went to work and then came home and, in their day-to-day life. I was in the corporate industry, high-tech industry, and I was very, very busy, go, meeting, back-to-back meetings, very A personality. I was just on it, and I was really intense, and it was a lot. And then as I started to awaken, I just started to relax into my body and observe, like, what am I doing? I'm not taking care of self. I could see that I was in a program, that I was on a train track, that life had kind of pushed me onto, that I was not necessarily in agreement with, because I was sick a lot. I had a lot of illnesses. During my marriage, it was not a good marriage. And so I was ill a lot. And instead of listening to my body, I went to the medical system and I got medication after medication. And I just kind of was on that track of this, of accepting something outside of myself to heal and cure myself. And I think that's where a lot of us are. I mean, that's what, especially in the US, that's kind of how it's been created, how this matrix has been created. And we can see that really clearly now with what has been rolled out. This is like accepting medication outside yourself as your Lord and Savior. And then the ones who are going within and have that adamant reaction to, like, no, that's not for me. Those people are choosing their own immune system. They are choosing their organic template within. The earth contains everything that we need to heal self. So that's where we're going back to. So I had a slow drip awakening. I was writing, I was bringing forth a lot of channels. So when I say channels, it's within self. I don't go into a trance and bring in, some deity or something. I travel as my ancient self, as my ancient soul self, and bring forth messages. It's like when somebody gets a telepathic message, you just know information. That's kind of how I bring forth my information. And at first, it happened when I was writing. So that was kind of how it opened the channel, as I was writing and writing and writing. I mean, I have encyclopedias worth of writings that I have brought forth, as well as then I started to voice record when I was getting information. And it would happen spontaneously, anywhere, anytime. Maybe I would hear somebody, see a post on Facebook, and that would, like, strike a memory. And so one post about a fleur-de-lis, let's say, I just read something of mine about a fleur-de-lis today. That's why I'm bringing it up. But the fleur-de-lis, would lead me down this track of, like, my own channel about what the ancient symbology is and what it actually means when people use it on the coat of arms and these ancient texts and things. So anyway, I was just basically a database for higher knowledge and higher information for years. And it didn't feel out of sorts for me, transitioning from that old life of being, like, very corporate driven, and then coming into this new life where the energy is coming from elsewhere, right? Somewhere that's not tangible, but yet it was extremely tangible within my energy field. So that was kind of my process. I was writing. I've had several initiation experiences on the other side with specific deities. And just before my soul walk-in, I was collaborating with one of the ancient gods, and he showed me a treasure chest, basically the Ark of the Covenant, and posed a question. Do you want this? Do you want to open this? Yes or no? And me being me, I was like, yes. And I just dove into it. And that completely changed my trajectory. I went from a slow drip writing process to a completely sped up initiation of this higher aspect, or my highest aspect soul, the highest aspect in the universe, to descend into me. So, and I don't know any of this. Like, as I'm going along, I mean, this is foreign. This is brand new on Earth. I am anchoring this into Earth right now. It's never been done before, to my knowledge, upon this Earth, because we are mission based and we are here for a very specific reason, which I have been briefed on because I sit on several galactic councils. So, you know, when I journey, when I travel, when I dream, I'm briefed. I'm living my real life as this higher aspect outside of this reality. This reality here on Earth, this avatar, is simply to hold the energetic and assist the other humans who want assistance.
Right.
So 2017, it was a full moon. It was in February. And just in the early evening, nothing special, ordinary day, I felt much like you describe. I felt like, oh my God, I think I'm having a panic attack, which I've never had one, but I thought,
right.
The amount of energy coming into my body, I could not handle. And I was like, well, this is what having a panic attack must feel like. I didn't know what to do with this energy. I couldn't hold it. So the only thing I knew what to do was to go get in the bathtub. So I gathered all my crystals, because at this time I was guided that I'm a crystal worker. And so I was already deep into working with my crystals, aligned the bathtub with crystals, and had my phone right outside the bathtub because I did a guided meditation to kind of put me under, so to speak. And as soon as I went under, boom, for an hour in the bathtub, I got downloads and downloads and downloads and downloads of my actual life, of my truth, of who I am on the other side, of what I'm doing here. There are a lot of details that I'll probably put in a book at some point, but I don't know, you know, a lot of this work is sacred. Not many people are called for this work. There's not many people like me on the planet at this moment. And I don't want to speak about a lot of the initiations that I've been in, because I mean, it's sacred, right? It's part of my path and it's part of my my blueprint. But I was communing with my actual family, and it was there that I realized this vessel, the family I was born into, they were simply just the people I was born into. I honestly had no ties to them. And I had actually felt that from a child. Like, as a child, I knew this, but I got into the program. Like, I was awoke as a child, but then I got, you know, traumatized, programmed, you know, when you get all these as a little child, right? So I was indoctrined. I was in the system, and then I went straight into like career mode. So I was in that system, which disallows for your truest, highest aspects to unfold. That's what it's there for. It is to block that and block people from their own divinity. So I started to realize, like, oh shoot, you know, who's this? Like, now I understand why this family never felt resonant with me. Like, who are these people? You know, I always thought like, these people are kind of nutty. Like, what's going on here? And it was an extremely, I don't even know. It was a coming home. It didn't feel scary at all. It felt like, finally, I know the truth. It felt like the deepest knowing and the deepest truth of my soul. And I was sad. I was so sad. I was like, I miss you guys so much. Please take me home, because this realm is so difficult, right? We're so dense here. It's dastardly, horrendous things happen.
It's
And
not an easy place to be. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
actually the worst place to be. Actually, it is the worst. And
That's
so
what
when
I've
I
heard.
woke up,
Yeah.
So when I woke up to this, I was like, I sobbed and sobbed, because I said, it's so bad here. It's gotten so bad here. The dark ones have done such a number on this experiment, on this human experiment, that I could only sob. I sobbed for self, for the Erin avatar, who lived 40 something years being traumatized emotionally and you know, abused. And I mean, it was just, it shot it. All I knew and all I had were Erin's experiences, you know, my traumatized childhood and my traumatized marriage, you know, all this BS that I was just carrying around, that most humans carry around. And then all of a sudden I was just shot out. So I was out here galactically looking at my Erin avatar, just sobbing for her. Like, what have you been put through? This is dastardly. This goes against universal law. It's actually breaking galactic laws to do this to humans. And the way they can do it is to get us to consent by manipulating us. So I realized in that moment that I consented to every single thing I had been put through, unbeknownst to me, because of manipulation. I mean, I've had handlers, I call them handlers, you know, the dark ones that you get involved with that keep you at a lower level, you know. And I consented to several handlers. In fact, at the time there was a group of best friends that I had. There was 4 of us since high school, besties, you know, all throughout our entire stages of life, we were together for everything. And I realized that one of them was a handler, and I was talking to her probably 4 or 5 times a day, text. We were in this codependent thing where my life was miserable and she was kind of my savior and she was my go-to, and but she kept me in a codependent pattern, in a victim pattern. And this is so huge for most humans on Earth right now. And once I had that sight, I was like, whoa, wait a second. She's assisting to perpetuate my own reversal programming, because to live in victimhood and to live in codependency is a reversal of what is good, pure, and natural as a human, as an organic, templated human. The ones who run the reversals are the ones of the matrix, right? The ones in the program, the ones that the matrix has created. They perpetuate this pattern to keep their matrix intact. So, it was a weird thing. Like, I just disengaged from most of the group, and nobody could understand. I mean, these are nearly 30-year friendships at that time. And I just backed out because I knew she had a sword, an energetic sword in my back. So this process,
I just want to, if I can interject right here. See, there's one of the things that people will be coming to understand. That's going to be a hard truth to come to grips with, when the time comes for them to have their awakening, is to realize that the earth and society and all aspects, actually literally all aspects of reality, have been severely manipulated and controlled by, what we call the dark ones. You call them the dark ones. The more common words, in that have emerged in movies and books recently, would be like there's talk of the Illuminati, there's talk of the elites, there's talk of like in politics, let's say for instance, our former president with the orange hair, his he calls them the deep state.
Yeah.
And
Or the cabal.
some
Yeah.
people call it the cabal. There's
Mhm.
different words, but basically these are all different words for the same thing, essentially. That this is the dark forces, the dark
Mhm.
people who have, for eons, literally, if you look back, once you start to get a high, bird's eye perspective of what's been going on, this has been going on for eons here on Earth. And this is what has made the Earth such an unlivable, horrific, difficult place to live. And
Yes.
so you were just mentioning, handlers, you were just mentioning, as somebody who was your handler within that group of besties that you had, and the infiltration, within our society has been so thorough that even these handlers, uh, it's so thorough and it's so complete that even these handlers many times are not even aware that that's what they're doing.
They're not at all.
It's you
They're
would think,
programmed.
yeah, they've been programmed to do this kind of work, and they are completely being manipulated. And so,
Absolutely.
and whatever it is that they've been tasked with by the people who handle them, in this case, in your story, Erin, this person was handling you, and there's probably a pretty good chance that this person didn't even know that's what she was doing.
Oh, no,
So
not at all. These people are remote controlled. They
yeah.
are a part of the matrix structure. And when you are a part of the matrix structure, you do not have autonomy. So what people don't realize is, first of all, I want to address these dark ones that we speak of, cabal, archons, Illuminati, what deep state, they are not human. They are donning human suits, much like I am no longer human, but I am in my human suit.
Mhm.
Everything within our human avatars is technology. Every single thing is technology. It's an energetic technology, and it's all sacred geometry, all of it. And this is how the matrix operates. This is how the dark operates. This is how the light operates. So if anybody understands Hermetic knowledge or ancient alchemy, or gematria or gematria, words are spells, and this is how they operate the matrix. This is how they control people, because each letter corresponds with a number. Numbers hold frequency. They are sacred geometric frequency. They actually create and weave the fabric of our reality. So this is why we have such a huge media presence. This is why we have Hollywood. This is why we have the top of the music industry. They weave spells by their movies, by their constant news 24/7. The people that watch this are completely, they have no autonomy. If you consent to watch the news, you are a puppet for this reversal.
Right.
What was once sacred, actual sacred geometry, creating our light, basically it's like weaving the light within Earth, how the Earth was created and what it was created for. The dark ones, I just call them the dark ones, but I mean, choose your name, right? I just kind of generalize, as to not flag, they like to listen for words and flag and whatever. So these dastardly ones, who I am here actually helping to eradicate because I see it all, once it's seen, they're done. Their jig is up. So people like me here, who we are the matrix code rewriters. So I understand the dark so intensely and so intently. I understand how they weaved this because I am an ancient creator. What is housed in me is so ancient. I was here at the beginning and I will be here for the end. And I write this all the time. I know what they're up to, and people like me, we know what they're up to. So therefore we can come in with our light, this avatar holding this galactic light, and rewrite their code. And I also can rewrite human DNA. So those that are running reversals, I can see the reversal programming within their bodies. I mean, there are chakras within chakras. There are secret portals within our own avatars that when we understand that, we can turn those around. I've had to do this for myself. I spent four plus years in training. So when I woke up in 2017, my new mission as an awakened seer, seeing everything, was that I had to descend and undo all of my programming that I consented to unbeknownst to me because I was under programming. And so going in and working with my team on the other side, doing meditations every day, that's all I did. I couldn't work. I had to leave my full-time job. I could not work in that environment. I could not work with these dense humans any longer. Humanity is so dense and energetically like tar, just like black goo. And as an energetic sensitive and one who holds the light, I understand how light and free the light is. So for me to be next to these people that are just dark and gooey, it's like magnets of the same side. There's no way you can be put together. It was like psh, psh, every time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think it's helpful to mention here that, for people, for people who are undergoing an awakening, who are undergoing this profound change in their life, and they're trying to figure it out. I mean, what's common between you and between me, between you and me, is that this has been a super profound change in your lifestyle. I mean, the people that you're attracted to, the work that you're doing, if you go through this change, it can be a sudden change, or it can be, a gradual change. The thing is that you're going to find that the people that you hang out with you're going to be repelled by them. Perhaps
yep,
not all of them,
absolutely.
but those people who do not have your higher, spiritual interests in mind, they're going to be leaving your life. You're going to either force them to go out of your life, or they will choose, because they're going to say, wow, you've changed so much. I don't even recognize you now over these last several months or whatever. And I'm not going to be with you anymore. And
Yeah.
it comes from both ways. It can come from within you, or it can be them leaving you. Also, the leaving your job, you're leaving your old job. I mean, you said that you had a type A, really fast paced, heavy duty, life. I think, involved with technology. In my case, I was a high tech guy too. I wasn't exactly an engineer, but I was working intimately, with I worked for companies like Yahoo and Google and all that before, and within the last 2 years, I've started going through a change. It was where I just could not continue doing this work anymore, and each time I've tried to get back into it, it's just it didn't work out. I mean, I lasted a really short time, and it was just this distancing going on. And then, especially with this recent change I've had, I know there's no way I'm going to go back to that kind of work anymore. And
Yeah.
the work I feel compelled to do now is to make contact with people who have a meaningful life, who do know what they want to do, or who are trying to find out what they're trying to do, but they're making an honest effort of trying to have a beautiful, meaningful life. So, yeah, so I just
And
want
then,
people to know that that's how profound the change is. It's going to
oh, it's
change
huge.
everything. It's going to change
Everything.
everything.
And I want to also mention that once you awaken to the matrix, once you have a bird's eye view, you are outside the matrix looking in, and you can assess it, and you understand the manipulation, the mind control. The matrix, listen, we are all watched. They know who is going to wake up. They know which souls have reincarnated. I have past lives as very strong figures that are in history books. You know, that is a template within me. So they know exactly who I am. So I had no problems when I was in the Matrix. I mean, I had problems of, you know, people handling me and traumas and all this kind of stuff, but I was operating in the Matrix as most people. Once I awoke into the Matrix will kick you out. You don't get to have money. You don't get to have a job that you like, because you don't operate in that frequency band anymore. And so I went through, as I was awakening, as I was like my highest goddess aspect, I lost everything, literally everything. There's not one thing that remained. And I'm like talking everything. Like it was like one dark night of the soul after another for years and years and years, since 2012 and before, frankly. It's been just darkness and having to deal with that within self, because the end goal is the purification of our avatar. And you are not purified if you are running reversal programs, if you are running negative thought forms, if you are running addictions, if you are running any kind of victim programming or codependency or narcissism, or, I mean, there's a plethora. I mean, just look at humanity, you know, pick whatever you want. It's all reversals. Everything in the Matrix is a reversal of what is good, holy, purified light. Every single thing. There is not one thing that is not. And the kicker is, when you understand gematria, you can foretell and predict what's going to happen in the Matrix. And there's a wonderful gentleman named Zachary Hubbard who he's had 22 channels on YouTube, because he keeps getting deleted because he speaks the truth. He tells people how to read gematria, and he predicts every single thing. Every sports game, you can bet on every sports game and win based on gematria. So once you understand this, you are no longer subjected to this. It is time for you to get out and heal in whatever manner you can. And so when I was going through this in 2017, nobody understood. None of my friends understood what I was doing. They couldn't understand why can't you hold a job? Why can't you just go back into your corporate America? You were making good money. You were solid. You were stable. And it's just like, this is a reversal program. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't belong here. Not to mention I'm off Earth. You know, I'm a galactic citizen, not an earthling. So understanding that, I was like, I don't belong to these programs. So what's coming in the next year and a half, starting in June, is a global dark night of the soul. Whereas I had 4+ years of integration, people will have a year and a half at max. It is going to hit them so hard, they will be completely spinning out and lost, because when you wake up, if you choose to wake up, not everyone is going to go through this. Many souls are going to leave because they can't handle the light. Our avatars are so dense that when the light comes in, this is kind of what you experience. You had so much light coming in, but yet your avatar was so dense, it can't hold it. So that's when we have to purify and get rid of the density within our avatar in order to hold this higher light and this higher frequency band that we are moving into, that Earth is moving into.
Yeah, this is absolutely unavoidable. I mean, there's no way.
Absolutely.
People say, well, if I just ignore this, then, you know, I'm not going to be affected by it. You know, it's just that this is something I don't choose to believe in. And sorry, folks, this is not true, because this is absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's as you had mentioned, there's going to be some people who can't handle this. So the way they, you know, well, there may be several ways that, you know, several paths that people choose, but you know, one is to go ahead and accept your awakening and to work with it. I've got to say that, you know, chances are it's not, it depends on how much inner work you've done already. If you're already
Yeah.
cleaned yourself out, if you've made a really solid effort to get rid of your programming, get rid of your inner darkness, your inner crap, um, and I believed I had done that. I mean, compared to other people, I know I did, but I still had a lot of stuff I needed to get rid of,
Mhm.
huge chunks of stuff I needed to get rid of in order to, acclimate myself to this new lifestyle. And I've got to
Mhm.
say, it was tough. It was a big challenge. Now, some people, they don't want to go, they're not up for the challenge. They don't want to do it. So expect another, those people can expect a big change in a different way. And for many of them, honestly, many of them are going to leave. They're going, and when I say
Absolutely.
leave, that means they're out of here. They're not here
They're
on earth.
passing
They're,
on. Yeah,
they're
they're
going to
done.
be experiencing a physical death,
Mhm.
and they're going to go wherever their next path is,
Mhm.
because the earth is undergoing this change. The earth is our home. The earth is our host for us people who are here in these physical human bodies. And whoever is not compatible with this planet, they're not going to be here for much longer. And we've seen this already with loads and loads of actors and these deep state players. They've either disappeared, they completely disappeared. Maybe
Yep.
maybe their death or whatever, their exit was not announced yet. But there's a plenty of political people, you know politics is like the most obvious thing to look at, but there's plenty of political people who just aren't showing up in public anymore. And it's because they actually physically don't exist anymore. they
Mhm.
they're not they're not there.
Yeah.
So but the news, of course, is part of the dark system that likes to keep things hidden. They don't report that to us. So once you start to understand that, this whole darkness thing, and the hiding things and hiding the truth is all part of this huge system that we've been speaking about, this matrix. It's going to be a big blow. And I got to tell you folks, it's a lot of information. It's quite a reality, or quite a realization that you will have to process. And
Yeah.
so the other thing that's good to keep in mind, okay, is that you're not alone. There's loads of people who are starting to wake up. They're starting to have their activation, what we call it, activation or personal ascension.
Mhm.
It's usually means this influx of loads of energy, loads of information that come in from who knows where. I mean, you've never known it.
Yeah, it's a channel. It's like a
Mhm.
television.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
when people worship externally to self, they worship the black box. It's the black cube of Saturn. It is a reversal program. It's a spell. The television is the mind control. That is the programming.
Mhm.
However, what people don't realize is we actually, as organic humans, if we reject the AI and we don't participate in the AI, we have a channel to everyone and everything. We have a channel into the trees, into the water, into the sky, into the stars, I can telepathically communicate with you as you can me once we open those channels. So everything is a channel, just as the television has a million channels. So those who want to remain in the AI system and worship their TV for hours upon hours a night, which, by the way, I used to live that way. I
Mhm.
used to live that way. I worshiped TV. I was a movie buff. I could quote anything. And then thank God I had my soul ascension, because it kicked me way out of that. I would not, if I did not have my higher self walk in, I would still be that person. I would still be dead asleep and in the other channels. So yeah, when we receive information, we are simply, our channels are open to our brethren, to our soul family, to the real reality. That is reality TV. What goes, what we're doing singularly and within, that's the real reality TV. Every single thing externally is a part of the matrix system. That's why I always speak on my Facebook page about idolatry. Do not idolize anyone outside of self. When you idolize a musician or a Hollywood actor, that is a puppet of the system. That is not God. That's not even holy. That's not purified. That's not holy. So when you put your energy into somebody, they are actually siphoning it from you. This is how intricate energetics operate on this planet. And what we're witnessing with everybody having an opinion about this, that, and the other, and choose left or right, Dem or Repub, it doesn't matter. It's all in the system. Do not vote. Do not consent to the reversal system. It's not an election, it's a selection. It's ridiculous. What we give our energy to, we create. We created the matrix. We humans, we created all of this. We created our own suffering and our own trauma based on the reversals put in place that we consented to, because we have been tricked into not going into self. It's been a very long time, right? And then those who lived upon the land, let's take our Native American community, for instance, who understands how to live upon the land, who has the channels and the communication to the other world. They are the star people of Earth. What does the dark do? They eradicate them. And this is what we're seeing right now. This entire agenda, everything that's happening on Earth, this thing that's been here for now a year and a half, every single thing that's happening is to keep the ones who have the propensity to awaken, the ones who possess the organic blueprint and have the propensity to awaken, even if they're not awoken, because I was not awoken, but I had the propensity to awaken. Everything that you see is to stop that, because the ones like us are changing this Earth. We are rewriting the code. I am rewriting the matrix code. I rewrite it on the land, within the energy, planetarily, galactically, in the stars, and also I do that within the human species. So people are going to have to take acute responsibility for their energetics, because that's all that this is. Every single thing is energy. And if you put, wherever you put your energy, you are responsible for. And it matters not that you were tricked into consenting. What happens now is you realize that, and you, excuse me, my phone, and you step back and you understand the role you played in that, and you get out of it. Detachment from everything is key. Detach from your family, detach from your spouse, from your lover, from your best friends, from your children. It matters not. Everyone must go within for themselves at this time, because the matrix right now, we are in the harvester. Souls are being harvested. That is what this agenda is. They are trying to steal the souls. So those ones that are the holdouts, that are like, no way, you're not putting anything into my skin. We do not consent to soul harvesting. There is no way anyone would ever take my sovereignty, freedom, and soul away from me. And this is what every single person who is awakening needs to be: a warrior for self, because no one else will. Every single thing in this system is trying to get you to the other side. They're now giving millions of dollars away to people who want to get the thing. What the heck? Go ahead, sell your soul for $1 million. You will be annihilated. And this is my channel coming through. This is my Sekhmet. This is my goddess. My goddess does not fuck around. When you are embodied and you understand the dark and the light, you are a warrior head to toe. I am a warrior for humanity, and I am a warrior for this earth. And when I see these idiots willingly giving away their soul because, oh, well, I can't go to work and I can't get a paycheck if I don't do it. Do you understand what you just did?
Yeah. So that I think that what people need to understand is that knowingly or unknowingly, for the most part, unknowingly for many people, we have given away the control of our sovereignty. We've given away our sovereignty, our right and our ability to be the captain of our own ship,
Mhm.
to lead our own life and to live our life according to what we're supposed to be doing.
Yep,
And we become so completely, and this starts from the moment that we're born. I mean, if you look at
absolutely.
a little baby that's born, who's just laying there on the table, after, the umbilical cord's been separated, um, that kid, all that kid knows how to do is, like, eat, sleep, poop. But that, aside from that, that child is born pure, wants, all that child knows is joy and
Mhm.
happiness, and experiencing things, with this childlike curiosity. And that's how we start off. But immediately, the parents are telling the kid, hey, they're starting to speak a language to them. And language itself is like, very limited. The spoken language is very limited. And, instead of just holding the child, they talk to the child and they start telling the kid, this is how you're supposed to act, as a
Mhm.
child or whatever. And it just begins from there, from moment one. And what people need to understand is that this has been going on ever since pretty much the moment that you were born, that you've been, injected into this system. And there are various control mechanisms that get placed upon you from the very beginning, including, like, for example, if do some research on what a birth certificate is and what that
Right.
involves. I mean, that's
Yeah.
like a real shocker.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well, I
there are
even want to take
Georgia.
this. I love
Georgia.
that you're going here, but I want to take it even
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
People don't realize the significance of a woman and a womb. That is a portal.
Hmm.
The womb is a portal to dimensions. It brings a soul from a different dimension into this earth. It has been so degraded, the woman's yoni, this whole free love and, one night stands and, people not really taking that romantic inner or connection seriously. It's completely degraded that entire structure. And then going back to the child, the process of childbirth right now in a hospital is completely a reversal. You are not supposed to immediately cut the umbilical cord. That is the tree of life. When I say that I receive channels, when a baby is born and they're connected to mother and they get put on mother's chest, I mean, that's the tree of life. The placenta is the tree of life. Every single thing on earth comes back to the tree of life, whether it's an actual tree, whether it's our human body, which is mirrored after a tree, or it's the placenta and childbirth and the portal and the womb, which is mirrored after a tree. All of it, when you go into the medical system, they cut off your tree of life like that. So the baby's crying. And then they go and they prick their foot. And then if it's a boy, they go and they, circumcise. I mean, there are traumas right out of the womb. It's a degradation, it's a reversal, it's sickening what happens to babies in the medical system, and we consent. I consented as an asleep woman who's birthed 2 children. I consented to that system and traumatized my children unbeknownst to me. Now I understand because I understand, I know all of this knowledge. I know how it's supposed to be. So, and then you go and you line them up for all their, their childhood blah blahs because, we got to be scared of germs here. This is the reversal. None of this is going to go with New Earth. We are restoring the organic template, and only 1/3 of humanity at the most possess an organic template. 2/3 of humanity are a part of the matrix. They are a part of the reversal. They support the reversal. They don't even possess an organic blueprint that tells them how to actually act upon Earth.
Yeah, and this is where we see that the movie The Matrix, we keep talking about the Matrix. The movie The Matrix itself is actually kind of a disclosure of what has been going on, what is going on,
Absolutely.
because the Matrix does discuss those people who, I believe the wording was, so inured in the system, they're so embedded into the system
Yep.
that they're not even aware of it, and they have no consciousness of being aware of it. And then many of the people, they're there as part of the control mechanism. This is
Yep.
what I mean by that. This darkness, these dark forces who have been controlling the earth and been controlling society for eons, for such a long time. This is such a complete uh infiltration of literally everything. There's language,
Everything.
there's culture, there's technology, there's education, that just goes on and on. I mean,
Yeah.
people think that this is kind of nutso, but actually it's not. And once people start awakening and they start, it can start as kind of a sense of, there's something horrifically wrong with this world. There's a sense of knowing that something is wrong, and that's the beginning, that something is amiss, something's awry, something's
Yeah.
not right. And that's kind of like the beginning. And and then later, as it intensifies, it could intensify as this activation that we've been
Mhm.
speaking of here. The thing is that the earth right now is so along in its evolution that more and more people are having a more drastic activation, you might say,
Mhm.
of they're waking up. It's an awakening process. And waking up into a world as dense as this one, as difficult as this one, generally not a pleasant, not a pleasant experience. It can be likened
Yeah.
to the
For
baby,
no one.
the baby being born. The baby's born, the cord is cut, and this cold air, and they get swatted on their bottom and everything. I mean,
Mhm.
they're crying their head off, because it's like, holy crap, this is not a pleasant experience. For many people, it is that way. Not for everyone, but for many people. So yeah, this is wow.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's juicy, it's thick, it's rich. Most people cannot handle this type of information. They literally can't hear it. Their body is too dense to understand and process what we are speaking about.
Mhm.
But I think it's very important that we are speaking about it, because those who are on the awakening process, this will resonate with them and it will activate them to the next level.
Yeah.
The ones I speak about darkness a lot. I'm a seer. I have seen what is to come.
Mhm.
A lot of darkness is to come. And those who don't want to acknowledge that there is darkness, that we live in a realm of polarity, of dark and light, of good and evil, which is not natural, by the way, not at least from where I come from. I
Mhm.
hold the frequency of love. And the frequency of love, it's a frequency, it's an energetic. It doesn't mean I love you. Doesn't mean I romantically have fallen in love with you. It is a frequency. It is a heart opening. It is a frequency. It is a color. It is sacred geometry, because everything holds a frequency, especially colors, numbers. But the frequency of love is truth. So when you have these truthers speaking about darkness, and then you have those love and light namaste people that are like, well, I don't want to look at the dark. I want to live in my love bubble. Sweetie, your bubble's about to get popped. You're not living in reality. You're living in delusion. If
And
you
that's
have
part
not
of
done,
the system. The
yeah,
fact that
exactly.
the fact that that they're living in this delusion, this illusion, is actually another example of how thoroughly infiltrated this, let's say, the spiritual community has been.
Yeah, the new age. It's a new cage.
Right,
It's
the
just a
new
cage.
age
Yet
thing.
another trap.
Right, it's another trap. Yeah. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to see the whole picture, and the whole
Mhm.
picture in this reality, in this realm, is both dark and light. I mean, it's not just this, oh, everything's just happy and groovy and all smiles and flowers and stuff like that. That's the
Yeah.
way that's actually a trap. That's the way it's been
Yeah.
manipulated by the dark system, and it's another distraction. And again, it's like I said, distraction. I mean, we've got these cell phones as a distraction, we got TV as a distraction, we've got all this technology, the bells and whistles in your car, these people spending all this money on their car, to get all these buttons and bells and whistles and advanced features and stuff like that. A computer that's got like loads of buttons and bells and whistles and fingerprint reading, all that stuff is all distraction. And then
Oh,
but
yeah.
people, more and more people are waking up to this reality, to this distraction. And so if we're noticing that the distractions are becoming more and more brute force, so that's why
Mhm.
we're seeing all these terrorism events and things like that going on, uh, that distract people with just outright brute force. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the way that some of this is going to be proceeding forward, in, let's say, in society. So as well as the brute force of having your body invaded with these things. And that's all part of what's going on right now. So but one of the things I really appreciate, Erin, if that you could touch on, is for those people who are awakening, and they start to get it, they start to get that this is pretty darn serious. And actually, when you start to realize how serious it is, it can be pretty intimidating and pretty scary. I mean, can we discuss? Can you give us some hints on like what people can actually do to reverse this, to actually take control of their ship, take control of their sovereignty, be the commander of the ship that is traveling through these dark waters?
Well, they're going to need to find community of awakeners who have traversed these waters already. So the
Mhm.
ones like me, and I have several people online that I know, I call them my sisters, that, we have traversed these waters for years. So what's coming up, we are prepared for. Our channel has made us aware, and we have been stationed around the globe in the places we need to be to hold the light on earth and for the community of people that we get embedded with. So it's going to be very difficult. You must find an expert in this. When I was awakening, I had to command and scream that I claim my sovereignty. If someone is serious about awakening out of the matrix and claiming their sovereignty, they have to command it. Words are spells. You have to exit the system and command for yourself your own sovereignty, your own freedom. You have to kick out the darkness out of your own vessel. You are responsible. Every single person is self-responsible. This is why it's going to be so difficult, because everybody's energetics, they just barf their energetics. They don't understand how to take responsibility for their own energy. And this was a huge lesson for me. And I still learn. I mean, I'm still learning. I am at, I'm living in my highest aspect, but there's still nooks and crannies. If I engage with a new person, sometimes they'll trigger me and I'm like, oh, wow, I got to go dust that little trigger out and, release that. There's still things to release. And much like your story, you thought you had done a lot of awakening, and then boom, you have this new activation. And it was like, whoa, I've got to clean up my own energy. I've got to clean up my own density.
Right.
So
This
my
can kind
advice.
of this can kind of be likened to, people are so so they relate so much to movies. And again, if you go back to the Matrix movie, if you've seen the Matrix movie, there's that scene where Neo, the hero in the movie, he literally gets unplugged from the
Yeah.
Matrix. He's inside that pod that's been encapsulating him. And here he thought he was, walking around on the sidewalk, living a normal life and all that. And he was actually, sitting in that pod filled with goo, with all of these tubes and wires going into his body, and he got unplugged from it. He unplugged himself. He woke up. He took the red pill. He took the pill that was given to him. He chose to do that, by the way.
I
It's a
need to
choice.
interject. I'm
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but I get real excited and I have to interject when I hear
sure.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
So just don't mind me. Don't take it personal. It's just my flow. It's how I roll. Sorry.
Yeah.
So in the Matrix, he unplugs basically from his head. That is an exact analogy of what it is like to unplug from the Matrix in this human avatar, except that what most people don't realize is we are plugged in through our solar plexus. And you will see most of them, I won't say most. A lot of people are overweight in their midsection. This is a fear response. This is a protective response, because when we get plugged into in the Matrix, these attachment cords, they all live in our solar plexus. It is in our gut. That is our brain. Our brain, people don't understand what the brain is, and people don't understand that we have brains in all chakra centers, but our solar plexus is our power center, and that is where all the cords are. So in the Matrix, where I think he plugs like the back of his head, which are actual, there is an avatar chakra back there. It's pretty on par. But once you awaken, you have to work to untangle every single energetic cord until you are purified. And a cord can be your parents, your siblings, your past lovers, any person that you sleep with, that you choose to engage in a romantic relationship and share bodily fluids, that is a cord. So if you're promiscuous throughout your life and you're just going about your life and you're not cleaning out that energy, you have every single other person's crap embedded in you. So you are not operating autonomously. You are plugged in to other people's energetic center. That's exactly what the Matrix was showing us. Just in this avatar, it's just slightly different. And I only know this because this is the information that I bring down. I understand all of the chakras. I understand what they all do. I have been shown, and I had to clean them all out. So anytime you engage with somebody, that is a cord. And that is why when I woke up, so there's a few things. When I woke up, I disengaged from every single person I knew, because I understood that I had to untether these cords, and it's personal work. It's personal work. And you have to command. I had to command my body, release this cord, release this cord. I had crystals. I mean, there's several rituals you can do. It's not easy work. And it doesn't just happen with one little, I release this cord. It is work, 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 until you are free and clear. When you are a clean and clear vessel, that means nobody is plugged into you. That means you are operating from your own autonomy, sovereignty, and personal freedom. You are detached from the Matrix. And I also want to address this because it kind of goes together. There are those out there that say, we are all one. All is love. Love your brother. Love the darkness. I don't play like this. I do not play like this. This is me getting fierce. We are not all one. And I will tell you exactly why. The Matrix is a collective consciousness. It is 2, 3, and 4D respectively-ish, right? It's a density, it's polarity. I have been, and I had to do the work to get here, and this is a whole other process. It's yet another initiation. I was shown that within the Matrix, every single person within is in their own energetic bubble. So it's just a load of bubbles, and they're all glommed together in one consciousness. So whether you are, and I don't want to generalize, but that's the way this is going to work. So let's say whether you are, unfortunately addicted to drugs and living on the street. So that's your life. Or you are Deepak Chopra and you are writing these quantum books. You're all still in the Matrix. You are all one collective consciousness. So in that regard, you are all one in that consciousness. Once you purify your vessel and become a child of God and sealed by God, you pop off the Matrix and your own little energetic bubble is sovereign. So now you are connected to the Christed consciousness, or the source code, or the God source, or whatever you want to call it, which is simply an energetic and a computer system, so to speak. I see everything in computer. It's my database brain. So the only way, so to be all one within polarity doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean you're all love. It's actually meaning you're all traumatized and you're all operating within a reversal system. Deepak Chopra just got the thing. He is in the reversal. He might be, you know, perceived to be the highest level within this matrix, but he's still in the matrix. He bought into it.
Right.
So
right.
the only way that we are one is valid is when you are aligned with God. If you are a purified vessel and you're aligned with the Christed cosmic consciousness, then you are one with your own God source. It's not a man out there. It is your own blueprint within. That's why anything out here is false. It's all here. It's all energetic. Once you can excavate your own God source, your own organic template, then you are all one with your brethren that live in the love frequency. So whoever wants to, you know, play this game of we're all one, namaste, within the matrix, okay. I just, like, to me, it's baffling to me.
Right. And that has a lesson in itself, you know, and some people, you know, need to go through that. They need to go through the participation in that matrix, and then eventually, until you see it for what it is, you know, with the end. But to go back to you know, to the solution, you know, the see, let's put it this way: there is no one solution. I mean, we've been trained to say,
your template.
yeah,
everybody has it within. That's the thing. Everybody's journey is within. You can't look to another person. You and I, speaking about our experiences, we can activate somebody else's own remembrance. We can educate them maybe on a specific subject. But once they go in and activate their own template, they will get walked. I mean, I've been initiated and gone through several galactic, you know, intergalactic things because that's part of my template. You know, you're not going to go through the same thing. One of my best sisters isn't going to go through the same thing, but we can understand one another because it's a similar frequency. So when people start to wake up, they have to take the time to meditate and go within. They have to get out of all distractions. If you're in a relationship that's not working, why put your precious energy into something that is not working? Cut the cord, literally cut the cord, get rid of it. We are moving forward too fast. Anyone that's attached into you and dragging you down is a handler. They're there for a reason. So you have to find your own will and your own warrior strength to detach and do what's best for you during these times. We're at the end. This is the end.
This is the end of this paradigm, you know.
This is the end.
The end of this old dark paradigm that's coming to an end, and that's why it looks like the world is falling apart. It looks, you know, people are saying the world is going to crap. Well, the world always has been crappy for the longest time, and they're saying it's falling apart. Well, literally, it is falling apart. The old form of the world is falling apart because it no longer belongs here. And you know, the earth, this planet, is evolving. This earth is a living, you know, being, and we are a part of this ecosystem. And the earth is starting to expel this old system, and we humans, along with it, we are starting to expel, you know, the things that don't work for us anymore. And it's quite a process. It's a huge, intense, many times unpleasant process, but it's nevertheless, it's just part of the truth. Would you rather continue living in a lie, or would you want to step forward in the truth, into the truth, and be brave? And this involves a lot of effort, and this involves a lot of bravery. And so,
Yes, it
you
does.
know, and for people who are just barely starting to wake up to this, you know, the suggestions that I've got is like, you know, start with the stuff that you can easily control within your life. You know, make sure that you don't have these foreign things, you know, introduced into your body. Okay. Um, anything that's foreign, you know, that's not natural, you know, there's like heavily processed foods, don't ingest those anymore because
Mhm.
they don't help you.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Pharmaceuticals.
that includes the sugars, it includes the pharmaceuticals and the
Mhm.
medicines. You know, maybe you could, maybe you're, you know, you've got a physical or medical condition whereby you have to, you know, where you feel that you have to be using them. Well, if you're able to clean out every aspect of your body, especially let's say diet in this case, and you know, the that you have, that you ingest clean water, instead of water that comes out of the
Absolutely.
tap, which by the way has loads of crap in it.
Mhm.
You know, if once you start doing that and you do it on a more long-term basis and your body starts to recognize that you are serious about cleaning out your life, your body will start to heal. It will
Mhm.
start to heal and you will get to a point to where you don't need those medications
Mm-mm.
anymore.
Nope.
And you know, do the research, you know, find other people who have done this, find
Mhm.
people who have escaped from the medical system. um and you know, these are all things that can be done easily. You know, all you have to do is just control what goes in, and what goes in all forms. You know, stop watching television, stop watching these movies that make you feel really weird, you know.
Yeah. Anything that's an emotional charge.
Mhm.
So the energetics are really closely tied to our emotions. Anything that is an emotional charge, especially on the TV or a movie, is a no-no. If you want to heal your emotions and heal your energetics, you cannot have these emotional spikes that are AI created and AI driven.
Yeah, yeah. And then one of the other things that you mentioned just, you know, a few minutes ago is go ahead and speak the spell. Go ahead and speak.
Yeah,
You know, this is my, I have decided to reclaim my sovereignty. I'm
absolutely.
reclaiming my life. I'm reclaiming my personal power. I am
Mhm.
calling in these pieces that have been intentionally separated from me
Mhm.
on all levels. I am calling them back in. I'm calling them home into my heart.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
And you say
Absolutely.
that, I mean, this is something that I discovered, you know. You know, I live in a home, you know, where there's the walls are kind of thin. But and so for me, and what I found is that you know, the a really nice place for me to do this is, you know, in my car. I'd be driving
Mhm.
along,
Mhm.
and you know, you can drive along, you know, safely along down a highway. I don't, you know, I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. Like if you're in the middle of town and you got to pay attention to what you're doing. But if I'm driving down a long freeway, I'll, you know, I'm in a moment of silence, you know, I start shouting. I say,
Mhm.
I reclaim my power. I reclaim my sovereignty. You know, this is me. You know, I'm calling in all of these parts that have been separated from me for so
Mhm.
long, and this is me, this is my life. And or you know, if you're in your car and you're doing this, you know, maybe you should pull over and then do it, you know, just to be on the super safe side. The thing is, you need to be able to shout this out. It's helpful to shout this out. You know,
Yep.
some people do it in different, some people do it through writing. In my case, was shouting it, you know, when I was in my car, and I could feel all this energy just welling up within me that I haven't
Mhm.
felt for literally decades. You
Yeah.
know, it's self-empowerment. It's
Yeah.
self-empowering. So what are your other suggestions, Erin?
I mean, it's hard for me at this level now. I'm so far away from that. It's very hard for me to remember and understand. So it's really not my area of expertise.
Hmm.
I now do during I do healing sessions where I rewire people's DNA.
Hmm.
Like I rewire them from the inside out.
Hmm.
So this kind of like transition from the basic, I am not a good person to speak on. I've gone through it all. I've written through it all, but it has been years and years and years.
Right.
Because I did most of that between 2014 and 17 before my walk-in. You know, I had a lot of cleaning up to do before my walk-in was able to house this dense body.
Mhm.
I will say that driving, I always get amazing channels when driving, not in the city, not
Mhm.
in the smaller, you know, in your neighborhoods, but if you get on a freeway and your car's just going, that
You're
is
just
an
cruising.
amazing place to
Yeah.
heal and do your work, to, you know, scream out, to claim, reclaim. You know, for me, I get messages. I just start going, whoosh. It's like I'm in my spaceship cruising, you know, I put it on cruise control and I'm just like, whoa, and I'm just getting messages. So I'll just turn on my voice recorder and voice record every single thing I'm receiving. So as people start, so I can activate people's original blueprint as well. As your blueprint starts to activate and awaken, all you have to do is listen. It's already embedded within you. All you have to do is just put one foot in front of the other. Whatever you are guided to do, there is nothing too weird. There is nothing too out there. Let me tell you, I've done some weird stuff and I mean, I live in the weird according to the matrix, but it's reality. You know, we are
Right.
rewriting our human avatars. We are rewriting this dense structure.
Mhm.
So anywhere that you can get into nature by water, running water is such an amazing conduit. You know, the ocean ionizes our bodies and people will get guided. You know, for
Mhm.
4 months, I was guided to the Oregon coast and basically lived in my car on the Oregon coast because I had to do work and I was there to ionize my body. And I opened a portal over the ocean and I'm bringing that energetic into the land. And then right after that, I was reassigned. I lived on the coast. I lived between Portland and Seattle, Oregon and Washington.
Mhm.
And then I just got reassigned to the high desert in September. So now I'm, you know, in a completely foreign atmosphere. I'm up in the mountains. I'm over 7,000 feet. You know, I have rivers, but there's no ocean. So once your blueprint is activated, you will get moved and taken to where you need to be for your own healing.
Right. And
And
I think
all you
this
have to do is listen. That's it.
I think this touches upon something that is really important, super important for people to understand, is to trust. To
Yes.
trust. Maybe you know, we've been taught in our entire life not to trust ourselves, not to
Mhm.
trust our intuition, not to listen to ourselves, but to listen to the external, to listen to
Yeah.
what the TV tells us, to listen to what these so-called friends tell us what to do, to, you know, listen to, you know, to trust and listen to common sense that we have
Mhm.
been programmed to believe in all of our lives. And this is all external. We're trusting external forces. We're not trusting what comes from within,
Yeah.
what we've been prompted from within to do. And so this, it's, you need, folks, you really need to learn how to trust
Mhm.
what your feeling is. What does your feeling tell you to do? What, you know, the events that play out in your life, you need to start trusting what lessons that they have for you. You know, in this case, you know, you just said that you were relocated in September, you know,
Mhm.
from a completely different physical place. And you know what, this happened to me recently too. You know, last
Mhm.
year in December, I was living in Taiwan. I was living literally on the other side of the earth, but
Mhm.
I felt compelled to move. I knew it was time for me to move, and I trusted that. I didn't know where I was going to end up. I didn't know if I was going to have a job or whatever, you know, but I said, you know what? I trust this. I
Yeah.
trust this. You know, it's happened to me a couple times previously in my life, but this time it was a huge jump of trust. You know, it gets the amount of trust that you put into your life, into the process, into the faith that you put into your heart, and the things that you are given, the gifts that you are given, the situations you are given to learn from. Trust all of that. I'm telling you, trust yourself. trust your life. And if there are things that you know need to be changed, you know, go ahead and make that change. Don't be afraid. This thing requires living this kind of life requires a lot of bravery.
Yeah.
You're going to be called upon to be braver than you have ever been in your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With no safety net. All you have is trust. That's it.
right. And that
No
that
safety net. You don't know what you're doing. This is
mhm,
unprecedented work that is being done upon Earth right now, and the
yes.
eradication of the dark. This is mission based. I am mission based. I came here, this highest aspect, this light that has descended into this avatar is here specifically to eradicate the darkness. That's why I get really intense and I get really straightforward. It's my warrior. I
Yeah.
mince no words.
Yeah.
I tell it like it is from my own truth frequency, and people are going to resonate or they're not, and it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's like,
Yeah.
I always say I'm not for the many, I'm for the few. I am the one of the leaders of what is coming, of the new earth. And those who choose that lifestyle, I can be a guide for. The
Mhm,
others who choose the other way, they're none of my business, because I
mhm,
already know what's going to happen to the ones who choose the other trajectory. It's none of my business. The decision has been made by God.
mhm.
I'm just
Yeah.
here to carry out God's mission within this avatar. And there are
Yeah.
several like me, several.
Right.
We are
Right.
all underground. I do want to say, any of the leaders of the new earth have not yet risen. They don't have a million followers. They don't have huge businesses.
Mhm. Yep.
They are
So,
underground. They are doing this work. They are purifying their vessel. So when you see these ones that have millions of followers or views or whatever, that you watch their energetics and they are not clean and clear, they are not purified, they are not doing this God's work,
mhm.
just
Yep.
wait. All the ones that we
See,
think are at the top now, it's going to change very
yeah.
rapidly.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
will change. It's changing big time. The
Yeah.
pace is accelerating. So,
Like Deepak
um,
Chopra, he just lost all credibility. His shit's
yeah.
out the window.
Yeah.
Dalai Lama, nope,
Right. Right. And
nope. They're
do the
choosing to
research.
end.
Do the research, and you'll find out,
Yep.
that this has actually happened. So,
Yeah.
so in the interim, okay, for those people who are newly awakening, who are being newly activated, I mean, you have to start somewhere that's workable. So, I mean, as I mentioned before, we are used to going to external sources, to going to the outside for help and that kind of thing. And so we've you've mentioned that, find a circle of people who are going through something similar or who have gone through it previously, and they are there, they are making themselves there, they are
Yeah.
being available to help people who are going through this process of learning how to trust themselves. And yes, these people are external to them, but they are only there as a bridge. They are not there as
Yeah.
the actual solution. The solution is within inside you, and that these people
Absolutely.
are there to encourage you, to help activate, the trust that you should have, within yourself. And those people are there. They are available to help you out. But in the end, they are not the solution. You are the solution. You
Mhm.
eventually need to direct yourself inward to your heart and trust your heart completely and fully, so
Trust your
that,
gut. Trust your
yeah,
gut.
yeah.
That's
And
that's the true discernment. This is
mhm,
not the discernment. This is an energetic power center.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
I had the hugest information about this come through last night. I'm gonna have to transcribe it, or it was
yeah,
voice recorded, so I might put it on YouTube. But this is not where we discern. This is our computer system. This operates everything. This operates our energetics.
mhm.
This is where you discern between these two, your heart and
It's like
your,
the gut feeling thing.
It's the gut. And that is
Yeah.
why all cords embed there. So if you
Right.
have a lot of cords that you have not cleaned out, you're not going to have discernment.
Right.
This is the trouble being in the matrix. Everything's embedded into us. And so
Yeah.
that's the process. Like, to clean anything out, do a cleanse and cleanse your gut. Cleanse your gut with, cleanse it from food, but also cleanse it energetically and focus. Focus, focus, focus. Go into meditation, command that these cords be removed. Command that you go in and excavate every last nook and cranny of every energetic that is ever embedded in you. And then do it more, because you are never done until you are sealed by God in a purified energetic vessel.
Right.
And one will know when they're sealed by God.
You'll know it.
You will
You'll know.
know. It is a ritual. It is a process. It's etheric. I've seen another that says that they do that work. That doesn't resonate with me, because all of mine were working with my team, with these deities. So I'm uncertain of that.
Yeah.
At this time.
So
I do seal people. I can give people energetic protection in that manner. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that unfolds.
yeah, this is an ongoing process. So so in any case, we're approaching like 2 hours here. Actually, we've been talking.
Yay. I told you I'm long-winded. I could go for hours and hours, and I could just keep on talking. This information, it doesn't end. I mean, I literally have written encyclopedias worth of this information. Like,
yeah.
I could just go on.
So in closing, what message do you have? What do you have to say? You know, in closing, what message do you have to, you know, for people to go forward with? What do you have to say?
I would say your sovereignty is your priority. Your autonomy is your priority. As the world crumbles, you must go within and choose souls have chosen a trajectory. So you're going to know what trajectory you're on. It's very obvious right now. If you find yourself on the awakening path, keep going through the darkness. Find the ones like me, find support who can support you through your tower moments, because this process is a process of unbecoming. It's a process of descension. One simply does not ascend without descending and cleansing all the density from their body. It is the hardest work you will ever do with the biggest reward. Just keep going.
Right. Okay. Very good. So folks are able to contact you, you know, for some assistance, you know, and then, like I said, yeah. So like I said, you know, we're, you know, the message that we have is, you know, go within, trust within, that kind of thing. But people aren't used to that. So the thing is, initially, it's okay to go and seek help from an external source to begin with.
Oh, absolutely. To
But
help navigate your own healing.
right.
Yeah.
But the eventual path itself is that you'll find that you are actually going inside, and you're not looking to an external source. You're starting to trust yourself. And
right, because everybody is templated. You're a template of God. So the point is to go into self and cleanse yourself so thoroughly that you automatically activate and operate from your own template.
Right, right.
And that is full spectrum. That's what the rainbow children are. So full spectrum, or the rainbow children, it literally means full spectrum. Like, I can be intense, I can be a lover, I can get downright dirty and in somebody's face, you know, protective mama bear mode. I can be relaxed and in love, or, you know, it's full spectrum.
There's no limitation. Yeah.
There's no limitation, because it's within your own blueprint. So when I say I operate from my organic blueprint, I am full spectrum. You know, depending on the situation, I'll react in the way I need to react.
Yeah.
But I'm reacting from a very emotionally balanced place, because I don't have I've purged all of this stuff that makes emotions go up, down, and crazy and all around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what most people are operating out of. That's what dirty energetics are. It's emotional triggers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people
So,
barfing their energy all over people or all over
mhm.
themselves or vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'll be let's go ahead and close here. I'll be, putting your contact information and what other
Great.
information you want to share
Thank you.
here in the link along with the video. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this, so wonderfully, so honestly. And we really do hope that this is something that will be helpful for you to listen to.
Mhm.
And this is an ongoing process, and help is available. And then eventually maybe initially the health comes from the outside, you seek help from the outside, but eventually you are going, just keep going, and the help
Mhm.
will come from the inside. So
Absolutely.
trust the process, trust what happens. You're on the path. So very good. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Erin
John. This
Elm.
was a pleasure. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for
Okay.
letting me pontificate. It's what I do
Very
best.
good. Okay. So we'll see some more of you later. We'll talk with you more later and share it
That
with everyone.
sounds
Okay.
wonderful. Okay, John.
Okay. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. So I'm not, let's see.